Hey, what's up? We're live. It's looks got some weird color here. I'll change it for the next one. But I just thought I'd do a few book talks. Story of the Eye. This is like I bought another version of this, and I read this recently again. It's just a short book. It does have a translator's note, and I think a preface outline. There's like other stuff. It's a very short book. Okay, so the tale, chapter one, is on page 3, and then the last chapter, it's about 80 pages. What's this coincidences? While composing this part, so Georges Bataille. So my book, if you look at my first book, it was obviously the design and everything was. I mean, it kind of has like the same. The original one of this was a little bit different. So, but I mean, when I did Five Fingers Make a Fist, I guess the most obvious precursors were probably Mark Liner, Irving Welsh, and George Bataille's Story of the Eye. I guess, or just sort of. I guess there's like some Joycean Beckett kind of overflow, but I wrote something else that's more of a kind of a story of the eye type of, and it has Joyce in there too, called the Story of Bliss, which I may publish at some point. But and this book's real strange. I mean, it was kind of popular in the '80s. A lot of musicians seemed to like it. Like I think Madonna and Bjork referred to it, and there was like talk that there was going to be some sort of film, but I've seen some things, but so let's read a little bit of it. I grew up very much alone. As far back as I can recall, I was frightened of anything sexual. I was nearly 16 when I met Simone, a girl my own age, at a beach in X. Our families being distantly related, we quickly grew intimate. 3 days after our first meeting, Simone and I were alone in her villa. She was wearing a black pinafore with a stretch white collar. I began to realize that she shared my anxiety at seeing her, and I felt even more anxious that day because I hoped she would be stark naked under the pinafore. So it's an erotic novel. You see a few people acting shocked and uh, goofing around, but yeah. But let's see the story of the eye. Histoire de l'eau is written in 28. He didn't publish. He published it a lot later. He had a pseudonym, Lord Auch, and uh, it include early depiction of omorashi fetishism in Western literature. It is a story told by a young man looking back on his exploits. In the 1940 edition of Histoire de l'eau was illustrated by Hans Baumer. I've seen some pictures from that. You could probably look it up online, and it's in the public domain uh, now, so anybody can publish it. So yeah, so I mean, I don't want to really go over to the plot because, but they do. It's like the boy and Simone meet and they seem like they come from wealthy families and they meet a friend and they have like crazy threesomes and then their friend Marcel is admitted to a hospital. Then they go to visit her, and then they end up in Spain where they kind of uh, do stuff with a matador and a priest. So a lot of people thought the Roland Barthes and Susan Sontag were yearly fan. Roland Barthes wrote about it too. Let's see. Cultural references. Danish punk rock band Ice Age referred to this book in the song "Ecstasy." The movie Weekend. Uh, the female lead recounts an orgy she participated in. Many details are derived from the first two chapters of. And Of Montreal has a song. The past is a grotesque animal. That's Richard Linklater. Before Sunrises, Celine is reading a copy of Story of the Eye when they meet. I think Icelandic, yeah, Icelandic experimental pop music. One declare Story of the Eye her favorite book. I guess I remember that. If you and I think there's a reference. There's a Venus as a boy. There's a reference to, but there's also a reference to it in the church video too. That I mentioned in the interview. What's a big song? Under the Milky Way. There's the guy's cooking an egg and then it turns into an eye. That's but let's see. Let's see. There's been some adaptations. Simona, which stars Laura Antonelli and Patrick McGee, is a avant-garde adaptation of Story of the Eye. And then there's a 2004 one, which I think I saw one like it's more newer. It seems sort of lame, and I mean, I think I had a screenplay for the Story of the Eye at some point. That shows you how like it's constantly, but yeah, everyone, Story of the Eye, you should go check it out. And yeah, I'll do a couple more books here, but let's get back to. I mean, I haven't really done these short blips for a while since because I've just been talking about magazines and books I bought this year, and I talked about Georges Bataille's Literature and Evil about 4 months ago, and before that, I talked about 99 novels by Anthony Burgess, Patti Smith, The Alchemist. That was almost like 6 months ago. So let's get back to doing these things. I have a load of books I can talk about, and so let's start there, and let's do a couple right now.